Welcome to your On TV News Desk. I'm here in the studio this afternoon with Heidi Ivany from the Sault Community Career Center. Yep. Heidi, how's it going today?
Quite well, thanks.
Good. So we're here today to talk about the N.O.W program, which is offered at the Sault Community Career Center. Now, this is geared towards people on Ontario Works on a social assistance. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Well, basically, N.O.W, which is a short form for New Outlook on Working,
right?
It works with people who have been detached from the labor market for a significant period of time, more than a year anyway. And some of those individuals can wind up in receipt of social assistance of some sort. But definitely, it's a program that has the aim to meet the needs of many. Structured over the course of 4 weeks. We do 4 weeks of in-class instruction, culminating in 3 days of job trials, which are unpaid work opportunities designed to allow that individual an opportunity to sample the workforce again and get some feedback from the perspective of an employer. And then they move directly into job development from that point.
Now, and this program's unique too because, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's meant to help people who have been, what it said in the release was chronically unemployed.
That's right. Yep.
So they've faced years of either not being able to find work or not being able to keep work, and this is to help them kind of reintegrate into the workforce.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you hit on two important points. I mean, on one hand, certainly we want to meet the needs of individuals who are long-term detached, but it also does have, you know, it can also help individuals who have difficulty sustaining employment.
Right.
So for whatever reason, they can connect to the job, they just can't keep it.
Right.
So this is a program that most definitely is designed to meet the needs of individuals and help them to understand from, you know, the perspective of the individual, you know, what it is about themselves, what is holding them back. I mean, a lot of people would be willing to say, well, you know, it's my resume and my resume is not right, and it's my cover letter or my lack of connections, you name it.
Right.
In our experience at the Career Center, that can be a factor, but more predominantly, particularly in the cases of the individuals who find themselves referred to my program, or this program rather, it is not mine.
Right.
They find that there are ways that we ourselves can hold ourselves back from achieving the goals that we set.
That's something I found really interesting about this is it's intervention, group-based intervention, so it targets the individual's personal commitment to change. So
absolutely.
As opposed to saying, the way I look at it, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is it's not so fluffy, like encouraging someone to get back to work. It's looking inside yourself and saying, you know what, maybe it's this or maybe it's that, and these are the real reasons. And I think that leads to more meaningful change in a person's life.
Well, what has been shown is that, you know, when you are able to engage an individual in intrinsic motivation, so motivation that comes from within, the odds of being able to sustain a change long term are that much more increased, right? Right. Certainly, if people were motivated to make significant life changes just because somebody stood above them and said, you need to do this and you need to do that, well, then everybody'd be changing all over the place.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So I was looking through the results that an external an external company did an assessment on the program because it started in 2014 here.
That's correct. Yep.
And it's appeared to be pretty successful. 130 out of 143 individuals referred to by N.O.W completed the program, and 78 of those individuals gained employment, and a lot of them were within the first 90 days.
Yeah, I mean, the effects of the program are strongest, obviously, when they first emerge from the program.
Right.
They're revved up, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, and the program also understands that people who are long-term detached from the labor force, they can experience the erosion of soft skills, right? And soft skills are those things that we take for granted, you know, effective listening, asking for help, things like that. So we actually do step-by-step instruction to bring people up to speed in those kind of skills as well. So, yeah.
So people, it said on average, it's people who spent 5 years out of the workforce. That's quite a long time.
That is a very long time.
And what's one of the biggest challenges that you've seen amongst people within that category?
People who have been detached 5 years or more?
Yes.
I think really after that much time out of the labor force, I think fear and anxiety really plays a significant role in how people can hold themselves back. Negative self-talk unchecked really can have that ability to
detrimental impacts. Really.
Absolutely hold people right exactly firmly stuck where they are. So for an individual who's been detached from the labor force for longer than 5 years, I think number one, recognizing that they may have apprehension about their abilities to be effective in the workforce is significant. So I would say that's probably the most predominant takeaway, because it is a program that emphasizes the individual and what the individual brings. So it's hard to really generalize, but I would say
everyone's experience is a little different.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about how the program is structured and how you can learn a little bit more about it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Heidi after this break. Welcome back to your On TV News Desk. Still here in the studio with Heidi from the Sault Community Career Center, and we're talking a little bit about the N.O.W. program. And remind me, N.O.W. stands for
New Outlook on Work.
New Outlook on Work. Perfect. So, Kate, can you tell me what a class or what the program would look like for somebody who wanted to join? Like, how many people are usually in a program?
We do anywhere from, we have done as many as 10. Anywhere from 6 to 8 is ideal. Yeah. I mean, delivered in a group format, but the work that people do they have workbooks. So the work that they do in their workbook is absolutely individual. And while certainly we hope that they participate in the group discussions because they're lively and interesting.
Of course.
We do actually, leave them alone. If it's not their time to participate in the group discussions, then we make sure we're supporting the work that they do in their books. So,
and letting them kind of go through that process. We talked a little bit on the break about change and different stages of change, letting them kind of go through. People be at different stages at different times, right?
Absolutely, and it all depends as well, whatever their change issue is. I mean, given that I work for an employment agency, the focus is on employment and working. However, what is taught within the program is, universal in its application. Right? There is no one person who's exempt from the stages of change. So everybody moves through the stages, typically in a cyclical fashion. So you can actually identify where somebody is just by listening to how they're speaking.
Right. Their body language and all of those things.
Absolutely, for sure.
So, so it's in a class setting, let's say 6 to 10 people, they have workbooks, and then is it given like almost like lecture style?
Oh, no.
No? Not so traditional?
No. We do have scripted lessons,
right?
But because the people that you're working with are always going to change, so too will the offers that you get from the people that you're working with. So it really falls on the facilitator to be able to, hear what they're saying, hear what they're not saying, and then also being able to kind of shape that into the next module that you're moving towards, right? Yeah.
And you said it goes 4 weeks?
4 weeks, yeah. The first week, shorter sessions, 2.5, 3 hours. Second and third week, the days get slightly longer because there's a little bit more that we're hoping to kind of bring and accomplish. And then the fourth week, 2 days in class, and then, as I said, the 3-day job trials.
And the job trials, what kind of businesses usually take part? Is it like a wide range, or?
We have a really broad variety of employers that we've worked with. I'm not actually sure if I'm able to name them.
Oh, that's okay, but just sectors maybe.
Certainly, we've had some support from hospitality. We've had a lot of support from retail. Sometimes the work, in the summertime, season tends to dictate as well, right? Because in the summertime, we might find ourselves working with, landscaping or different things like that. We only work with reputable employers, obviously. The shifts in question, because they're unpaid, tend to give people, like I said, that non-pressure environment to try it out. Yeah. And then we get feedback from the employer to help market
So it goes
them.
2 ways then?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's great because, someone could try, if they've been out of work for 5-6 years, maybe what they were doing before is totally changed in nature, and they might try their hand at hospitality because that's what they did before, and you know what? They like retail better now. So I think that's really great. Now, if somebody wants to get involved, the program is continuing. How can they find out more or get in touch with you or get involved? Do they have to be referred through Ontario Works, or?
The majority of the populations that we work with are referred through Ontario Works. That's not to say that we haven't accepted other people. The intake process is fairly straightforward. If you aren't in receipt of social assistance, then you are welcome to come into our center. Speak to somebody right at the front desk. The very worst case scenario, you'll wind up talking to me in the moment.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there'll be an intake session to determine, if now is actually the right time to participate, because it does require, a time commitment.
Absolutely.
And regardless of your employment status, life is life, and you probably have some commitments here and there. So.
Right. So, and it's a free program. Mm-hmm. Wow. And how often does it run per year? Is it continually running?
We average about 6 per year. We're hoping now that I'm in the process of training another facilitator that perhaps we can run them a little bit more often. But in this moment, I think we're averaging about 6 per year.
So if someone comes and checks it out, realizes they can't commit to that time commitment, there's always the opportunity for them to join the next kind of
absolutely.
program. Sounds pretty flexible. Sounds like a great opportunity for someone who is, as we say here, chronically unemployed. I think it sounds like a really great program. For more information, of course, you can visit the Sault Community Career Center's website. All the information is there. I looked today. Thank you so much, Heidi, for coming in and for sharing all this information with us and for the work that you do in our community. We'll be back with more news coming up on TV after this break. Stay tuned.